Why don't we just start from the beginning, right? What can you guys tell me about your upbringing in Russia / Prague? I know Nikita or Nikki is from Chelyabinsk.
Nice.
Uh,
Nice.
and Artem, you're from Kemerovo. Shit, that's difficult to pronounce. Yeah. So, can you guys tell me a little bit about your upbringing and stuff?
Sure. Yeah, absolutely. I would start because my upbringing was a bit shorter in term than Artem's, because I moved from Russia when I was just 12 years old. So my real upbringing, probably as a person, was as a mature person, was happening here in Prague.
Mhm.
But still, I can feel that my custom build as a personality still happened in those 12 years while I was still in Russia, mainly due to the fact that I was exposed to a lot of TV and media that shaped me, and it shapes you a lot when you're a kid, because it makes the most impression on you while you're in this age of flexible mind, basically. So yeah, I grew up there in a usual normal working family, and then my family emigrated and opened a business here, so we moved away. So basically all of my music interests started here in Prague. I started to play guitar. I encountered Artem. I had my other metal band or whatever. So I was shaped probably in terms of music tastes and other tastes in Russia, but all of the beginnings happened in Prague. So yeah, that's in a nutshell, basically what it is.
Mm-hmm. Interesting. So you said you were in a metal band before, so you basically, started listening to metal rock music and transitioned into techno, right?
Yeah. I mean, it all comes from my dad, basically, because he's a huge metal fan. So I was at 1 or 2 years old already listening to Slayer and Megadeth
Mm.
and all of the other good stuff in a huge headphones. So yeah, I was abroad with that music in my ears, so I had no other choice other than to create a metal band. But also, it was an era of, I would say, when it was at the peak. From in the 90s, it was like all about thrash metal and Metallica, making it mainstream a bit. Then it moved on to new metal with Korn and Slipknot and Limp Bizkit, introduction of rap, uh, big beats, all the stuff like this more aggressive stuff was very much a theme back in the day. So that's why we like things a bit more aggressive in any music, or when it's driving or pumping. And techno is just one of those genres. It's a very aggressive, and it's dark, and it really drives you when you listen to it. So
Yeah, I
it's
feel
a
you.
different. I think it's an electronic replica of metal, basically, in an electronic world. People are almost similar. The audience, when you look at them,
Yeah.
is very much looks the same as the ones who listened to the metal back in the day.
Mm-hmm. Okay, interesting, man. What about Nikki?
Artem.
Oh, sorry, Artem.
Yeah,
Nikki. Sorry.
It's fine, Julian.
It's fine. Like my situation is completely different since I moved to Prague when I was 18 already. So I finished the school, but before that I finished musical school. So I actually started playing guitar like in 1998 or something like that. So I started my musical career, like when I was 7 years old. Yeah, and you know, life in Kemerovo in Siberia, it's some crazy experience, man. So it's industrial city, and the main thing is mining coal. You know, so many mines, like the environment is not really good. You know, this kind of stuff, and it's pretty cold. So yeah, when I moved to Prague, for me, I moved to continue my education. So I was planning to start university, etc., etc. And for me, it was completely different world. You know, Prague. This, even if it's Eastern Europe, it's still Europe. It's something else, something different. You know. And the first year, I was living in the dormitory and speaking to people of all nationalities. And actually, you know, when I came back and speaking to my old friends, you know, completely two different world. And during those times, my perception of the world was changing a lot. And for example, I used to be a metalhead as well. So I'm still, of course, to some extent, but I had a band, you know. But then when I moved to Prague, I started, you know, listening to some electronic music. It was Justice, if you know some.
Justice.
It was new Justice, yeah, this French electro house band,
Yeah.
or whatever.
Yeah,
It was the era. It was the era of new rave, new rave music. So bands like Soul Walks, Justice, then Sebastian, Busy P, then Hadouken, like all this hipster stuff was super famous. And you know, yesterday I was in school, like wearing my, I don't know, T-shirt from New Yorker, but the next moment I'm like wearing the sunglasses
from New Yorker as well.
New Yorker as well, yeah. this really super skinny jeans, and like all this colorful T-shirts, and you know, this leather jacket, completely different man. And I was really into this kind of stuff. It wasn't really big in Czech, because Czech is more rock country, right? But this is, I suppose this is a start point when I started like listening to electronic music. And you know, sometimes people, when they evolve, they listen to some harsh shit and then they move to complete pop. In my case, it was totally opposite. I started with some like really soft. Now I understand it is soft, but those times, Sebastian and this electro sounds, fresh sound, I thought it's like really techno shit, like, you know, really hard. In couple years, even Alan Fitzpatrick, you know, this in the beginning song, I thought it's like it's really some weird house.
Yeah. It was the first techno song I've ever heard that actually just, it was wow. I never thought this world exists. You know, it's completely different. Sounded completely different to everything I heard.
So this actually, two complete world, man. In Russia, it's not like, probably in Moscow, in St. Petersburg, it is, yes. But in some cities like Kemerovo, it doesn't exist even. And it's uncomparable thing. So it's Europe. You're actually opening the new world, and I think it's not only case of mine. It's the case for many friends of mine that came from different cities, but they all of them had an opportunity to somehow, you know, to evolve in Prague and to start doing something creative. You know?
Yeah, and I think it's due to the fact that the best people immigrate from Russia, and a lot of those best people have accumulated in Prague, and so we have now, thanks to my friends, we have, you know, I have the most forward-thinking friends, I think, ever. Everybody is super hip. Everybody knows, you know, about movies, books, philosophy, politics, everything, because the best people live here. So, and you are able to talk to them. So it's like a let's say, concentration camp
for smart people.
It's our hood of Russian intelligence. So that's why we were able to grow much faster than we would in Russia as well.
Yeah, I would just add that in Russia, unfortunately, now it's. I'm not saying it's not possible to grow, but the environment is so hard. You have to survive really in
Exactly.
terms of everything. So I'm not saying that there are no like talented people or clever people or whatever people. No, it's just like unfortunately the current conditions are not people friendly, like evolving friendly or development friendly or whatever. Like it's really hard. If like we were lucky, we actually were lucky that we are here and we have an opportunity to evolve and to grow.
Yeah, understand, man. Like it must have been like quite a cultural shift for you guys, like you were saying, that you really, profited from. I don't know the cities, Chelyabinsk and Kemerovo. But I can understand, up to a certain point that those are probably cities that are way more isolated, from the rest of the world. And also, you guys said you came to Europe when, how old were you guys?
He was 12 and I was 17.
So how old would, like in which years would that have been?
It was, for me, it was year 2005.
And for me, 2008.
Yeah, well, I was going to say, post-Soviet Union era, but you could probably, well, it is, not directly. That would have been more in the 90s, but you can probably up to this day still, notice some flaws that the society has due to the Soviet Union, right? And obviously, some people probably don't have the opportunities that you might encounter in Europe and stuff like that.
That's true. Though I have to say one remark, that I think the years 2000, beginning of 2000 was the most freedom I think the Russia probably saw in terms of,
man, I agree.
Yeah, ever. And this was the peak of, peak of creativity. People were living vividly. It was also a peak of the money that were coming in thanks to the rising oil prices. So there were a lot of money, there was a lot of freedom,
and there was a hope.
Yeah, there was hope that all those money will help to build a fantastic country, which we see now. It's not happening, unfortunately.
Yeah, unfortunately.
But back in the day, those were happy days actually for us, even though we both come from industrial cities, very polluted. A lot of criminal shit happens. Yeah, guys were taking the phones from me, for example, from my friends, robbing us for money. But it was nothing compared to the, happy memories that we have still to this day. Probably any kid almost has a happy memory of the age of 10, between, I don't know, 8 to 12. Yeah, it's a happy time for you. So it didn't matter that much.
Kid, yeah.
Exactly. It didn't matter that much that it was a post-Soviet.
But even like if those memories are kid memories, there was a progress and there was a hope. Even now, I can say that it's still valid. There was the growth, but something happened. I don't want to really go into the political thing because it's a topic for another conversation. But it just didn't work out, unfortunately, and it's getting worse now, obviously.
But is Russia nowadays supposedly, I don't want to get into politics, but this is interesting to me, maybe from your perspective. Is Russia a free market economy nowadays, or is it considered to be a communist system?
No. It's
not really, right?
It's free market economy with with big presence of the government. But of course, it's not setting prices up, of course, obviously. But it's really depends on the government sector. If we talk about it like really shortly, the role of government is really big in the economy. But of course, it's not like the government setting prices and the quantities of goods. No, it's not like that. It's market economy, but the percent of the government and the government sector is really big.
Understood. Okay. Yeah, interesting, man. I don't know why. I think people in Europe really, or in the Western world, have like the perception that Russia's still like totally communist country. At least I didn't really
Yes,
think
yes,
it's.
Yeah.
in some sense it's true. In some sense it's true. In some sense, yes, but of course it's not like the same as. No, Russia is a big economy.
Oh yeah, no, obviously. Okay, so let's move on with the music, right? So, could you guys talk about your main influence, plus how your productions have evolved since you first started making music?
Yeah, sure. Great pleasure. It's my favorite topic, actually.
Perfect.
I don't know, like if we start from the very beginning, when we met with Nikki, we studied the same university. We studied finance, both of us. And I think the first experience, the first like serious experience was our first band that was called Higher. It was some kind of Depeche Mode influenced music. So I would say that Depeche Mode was one of the biggest inspiration and influences.
Nice.
Yeah,
The Horrorist is also a massive Depeche Mode fan, apparently.
Who?
The Horrorist?
The Horrors. Yeah. I can see that. Yeah, actually, it was music with vocal. Yeah.
And synths.
Yeah,
And dark.
We are big fans of Blade Runner and Matrix.
Yeah.
So we were really into this cyberpunk thing.
Mm.
Yeah, but not we have our own understanding of cyberpunk. It was like something probably between a retro.
Yeah, like between the synthwave and more futuristic cyberpunk vibes. We didn't want to make like a retro sound, but more futuristic.
Yeah,
retro futuristic synth music.
Yeah,
I will send you a link, of course, if you would like to include it somewhere or just of your own interest. Actually, Artem sings there.
Yeah, I am singing there.
Yeah,
100%, man. Obviously, yeah.
Pretty well. So no worries here.
Yeah.
Check it out later.
Yeah, and there was and everything was done like noir. It was like noir, cyberpunk, retro, whatever thing. So yeah, we started like that, but then something happened, and what exactly happened? Like we were more and more into, it wasn't techno, but yeah, it was. Like,
it was more
probably Nikki would tell you more about it because he started raving a bit earlier than me. Yeah, so probably Nikki would tell you.
Yeah, I think basically this first project, Higher, gave us a lot of skills that we still use today. We learned Ableton, basically the digital audio workstation. So we've learned the basis of in there. I've learned the basis of mixing as well, thanks to it. Recording live instruments, using virtual instruments, all of that it still is essential to this day. So it was a real school of electronic music to us.
Mm-hmm.
And then maybe in around a year, I started like a tech house, probably techno, deep house, I don't know, whatever project of my own. It's called N69, and I started to produce music that was very similar maybe to Dusky, I would say, if you've heard a UK duo.
Or Third Sun.
Third Sun, yeah. Tech house and deep house was not that cheesy back in the day. It was really cool music for the bad guys. You were listening to it like, yeah,
it's not like this the best meme group.
Yeah, it's not. If you know the worst techno memes group on Facebook,
I know it.
No, it's the best. So there is like tech house is a meme there.
Yeah, there is.
It's for the music for douchebags, basically.
Yeah.
But back in the day, it was not.
Yeah, probably it was from the perspective of old school techno guys.
Yeah, but maybe
probably, but
it was. I can say definitely that it was not. It was just the peak moment for tech house. It was just rising, so it was not yet very much mainstream. There were a lot of underground, even artists that were not that exposed to the public. So it was not a shameful thing to listen to tech house because it was a cool thing back in the day. So it all started
Well,
there.
that would have been like 2010,
2014, 15.
No.
Yeah, 14. It's the year that it started. Maybe for you it was earlier. For me, a friend of mine showed
I
to
would
me.
say 2012, 2013.
A friend of mine who just released an EP. Anybody who's listening to the podcast, go check Blacksmith EP on X Image Records. So this guy showed to me a lot of deep house and tech house artists. Basically, it all started there. Then it started to evolve into a more ravey feeling music because I started to visit, and thankfully, the Prague started to host big warehouse parties, which was like a completely different dimension to me to explore, because I was living in the era of live performances and clubs, stuff like this, live instruments. So to me, it was a completely different world, and it changed my perception of the music and mine completely. There were two memorable things. One was the visit of Tresor in Berlin. It was the first ever techno party that I visited, but it was back in 2013. So I didn't start to explore the culture too much, but I knew it existed, and it made a big impression on me. Then I visited Alan Fitzpatrick in Prague, another mind-blowing experience. But the one that completely changed me as a person was when I saw Ed Davenport here in Prague. It's a awesome DJ, and I took a funny thing inside of me, and it changed a little bit the vision I have as well. To this day, it was a changing experience again. So in this moment of time, 2015, 2016, I started to explore techno scene, absorb it, understand what are the artists, what is the sound. Back in the day sounds like maybe exaggerated. But like it's only 4 years ago, actually. 4 or 5 years ago, hypnotic techno was at the peak. So things like Northern Electronics, Abdullah Rashim, Luigi Tozzi, Italian Milan techno sound, very melodic, very slow, tribalistic sound was at the peak. So in that moment, we started to explore techno. I was started, and then I was telling to Artem about it, but
Yeah,
he was like, "Guys, you're doing fucking bullshit. You should stop doing this."
He wasn't listening.
You look like bums and junkies, so I don't want to hang out with you anymore. And then I was like, I was really praying for him to visit one rave that he could understand how awesome it is. But he went to the worst probably gig that happened, and then since he stopped going to those events anymore. So I took him to a wrong event, unfortunately. So
what was that?
No, it was without me. It was in 2017 when I was getting my master's degree in the UK. You went with our friends.
What was that?
It was a harmony party. Yeah, like you described it as a huge toilet.
This Gipnos thing, like I totally missed this hypnotic techno thing. Like totally, I just missed it. I was listening to electro, some stuff like Morphology or Delta Function. Umwelt, of course. Yeah, I was really into electro, but this Gipno, I still don't really feel it. Like I'm not really into that. Probably I like that music became really faster now.
Yeah, definitely.
So you guys started, releasing your first project as a duo, Control, right?
Yeah, look, there was this
On
thing like,
Flash.
yeah, completely mind blowing was Forces actually. Forces EP. Forces, it's an Australian guy actually, I think. Yeah, he's an Australian. Yeah, you know Zanias?
I don't.
Yeah, look, Zanias is an Australian singer as well. So I think she was part of Kiloar.
Zanias, her name is Alison Lewis. She runs Flash and she lives in Berlin and she's Australian.
Yeah, okay. I was wondering who runs Flash. Okay.
Linea Aspera, Kiloar, and Zanias are her projects actually.
All right. Okay.
Yeah, and she runs this label Flash, and there was this Forces EP. I don't remember the name of this EP, but actually that was my game changer for me. When I first hear that, it was like something else. Really cool mix of VBM and some vocal thing, electro.
Them Forces and Schwefelgelb.
Schwefelgelb, yeah,
of course.
Yeah.
Those guys, it was completely different energy. There was structured rhythm, thumping drums, so it was very mechanical.
Very German.
Yeah, it was very, your body was in order to dance, as they say. So you had no other choice but to start moving to it. And we thought, we had this higher project and we've produced a couple of instrumental tracks. And then a friend of ours said that it doesn't make any sense for you to make this kind of music instrumental. You should create another separate project for it. So we thought, yeah, probably it's a good idea. And then we wrote another 4 tracks for the EP. And actually, 2 of those tracks that we wrote as higher are on the first release of ours. So
sorry, you're talking about Control right now?
Yeah.
All right, yeah.
So Welcome to 303 City and Celestial are 2 tracks that we were not written as fractions at the moment.
Okay.
And they don't sound that EBM actually. If you listen to them, it's a bit different. One is very melodic electro. Another one is Forces, kind of still not that EBM-ish kind of track. The rest 4 of them are written under huge influence of Flash sound and Schwefelgelb. We really try to write in that fashion, but different, of course, so that we do the things that we like, the way we like.
But
it was like this Russian this Russian Prague, like completely out of field understanding of EBM. So probably that's the reason why it's interesting for people, since like I can see the interest and the comments of people that they really like this record. Probably because it's like, actually, if you think about it, it's really weird, because we probably you did, but I didn't listen to any ABM. That was the first thing I heard, and this was the only thing I heard. Schwefelgelb and Forces. I don't know about ABM. I didn't know about ABM too much. So I didn't know about this old school thing, about the history, about this old bands like from 90s and all this kind of stuff. It was like okay, I hear it now. I don't really know about it, but I will try to do something like that, and I will do it my way, with some with some influence of Russian pop music, Depeche Mode, and probably a little bit like mainstream techno, and I will do it in this Russian way, and the output would be like that. It's a little bit weird.
Understood. So it's not like you guys were extremely influenced by like 90s EBM and okay, so you basically got like Flash EBM.
No. It was completely opposite, man. It was like, I don't know about EBM anything, and the only thing like I heard is like Schwefelgelb music, like total like mainstream EBM mainstream. But I like it, and I would like to do something like that.
And
after that, of course, we explored all these artists that you're talking about. But the very beginning, it wasn't.
Yeah. So probably maybe it's a bit even naive in the way we wrote it. Maybe you can hear, it's a very fresh understanding of what this music is to us. So we didn't go into the roots. We just sat with the computer and like, yeah, let's try to make something like that. Not knowing.
If you hear like this control song, like, what is that? It's like some chord.
It's actually the bassline. The bassline
Yeah.
is actually reminiscent of French electro house era.
I would say it's like new metal.
Maybe even new metal.
It's really like
it's a mixture of everything. It sounds different. It doesn't sound that EBM-ish in a classic way. So yeah, it's different. The record is different because we probably approached it completely different to everybody else.
Yeah, understood. That's an interesting approach, guys. Like, I definitely thought you would have taken those influences from the 90s or something like that. Being EBM. So, okay, so you released these 2 records on Fleisch, Control, and Scars of Love. How do you? Well, yeah. So things happen in between, right? How do you get on the world of Monnom Black 2? Have you met Dax J? And can you talk a little bit about your last mixtape or EP, Night Energy, on Monnom Black as well?
Sure.
What how your sound has evolved, from those first mixtapes to this new one, and a little bit about the Monnom Black Dax J situation.
I can start. Yeah. It all happened very sudden, very unexpected to us. We have just released Scars of Love back in July, I believe.
Yeah, and I need to admit that Scars of Love wasn't like, it was a little bit different approach, different experience as Control. So we were more into this music. Of course, we listened to some older bands and discovered this world, speaking to some new people and playing gigs. So we weren't not the same people. Yeah, we got some experience, right? So just wanted to know.
Yeah, there was a natural evolution, of course. In the way we wrote tracks, we already started to rise the tempos, started to adapt the sound for techno DJs so they could play the songs as well. We had this thought in mind, not just let's write whatever we want, but actually let's write something that we want and something that would fit the industry quite well. One of the tracks there, two tracks there are actually taken back from 2016, back from when we were doing music separately or together. It was some demo songs that we were not intending to release, and then we always had them in mind, and those tracks got released there. So those songs were actually written in the era pre-Control. Those 2 tracks are Move Your Body, Dance With Me, and the other one, We Speak in Tongues. Those 2 tracks sound different because they were written 2 years prior to the release. So all of that happened. We released the music. Also, that is the reason as well, which added to the fact that it sounded different as well, separated from our first release. And Dax, being a friend of Allison, knowing the Fleisch label, he came across the EP, most likely. And then one morning we just wake up and there is an email from him in our inbox saying killer EP. And he praised the production, said that he enjoyed the reels in general. His favorite was, of course, Access. And I think it was in the same, I think first he asked for unreleased tracks, or he
Yeah,
said that
he
it was there directly. If you would like to make an EP.
No, he said like, send me some. Can you send me some unreleased tracks?
Yeah, most probably in the first email he pressed the
Yeah,
EP and asked for unreleased tracks.
Mhm.
We sent 8 of them, and among
because you were like, okay, but probably he wants us to make an EP, but I was like, no, he just wants to play some other tracks, So and you were like, yeah, sure, he just wanted to play some other tracks, and then he said, oh guys, cool tracks, like would you be up for making an EP on Monnom Black? And I was like, okay, you were right.
Yeah.
Mm.
It was very quick. He came up with the offer, and amongst those 8 tracks, there was Zero Ground.
Yep.
So he took it immediately, and he offered us the last spot on this various artists. And so
The first one. You're the first song on Monnom Black 2.
Yeah. We were the last song he took, and
Right. All right.
Probably because we have the intro type of part of the song, and it's the slowest, one of the slowest BPMs on the various artists compilation. Yep. That's why I think it's first. And none of the tracks made it on the EP, so we had to write it completely from scratch,
which was fine.
Which was fine, of course. So, and this process lasted from probably July till February, most likely. So it took us around 7 months to complete the EP.
Oh man.
The Night Energy EP. Oh, all right. So, but you did release Zero Ground on Monnom Black 2 before the EP, right? That The World of Monnom Black 2 was released, what? 2019 or beginning of 2020 or something?
It was 2019.
Autumn. I think it was
November. And he wanted to introduce us to the label first with it, so people get to know us and his audience, and they're ready to absorb the new EP.
Makes total sense, yeah. So basically in this new EP, you said that the demos you sent him, like Zero Ground was basically the only one that made it, to be released through the label. So when so you do notice, a kind of transition between Control and Scars of Love, that kind of EBM sound to, a Night Energy sound. Which is more like acidy, broken beat, bit more, I wouldn't say 90s, I don't know, but, you definitely get that 90s vibe as well. You really get that Matrix and Blade vibe. Which one is it? I think All the Streets Are Silent. That reminded me of that Matrix scene where they're walking on the walls and shit like that. I think it's third movie. Yeah, so I mean, was this shift organic, or did you feel like you had to change your sound to appeal to the label sound?
No, look, it was organic, but it was conscious. So by that I mean that even in Scars of Love, like after Control, the EBM thing became too narrow for us. You know what I mean? Yep. Like really quickly we discovered the boundaries of the genre. And if you listen to Scars of Love, like Excess, it contains some rave, it contains some these stops. The same with the Scars of Love track, it contains the same, this, there are some leads already, it's faster. So it was, Scars of Love was really like influenced by this rave. So we were already thinking about like getting faster and making more rave music, but still in the EBM genre. But moving after, it was like more and more, let's say, rave. Let's say that, but you know what I mean by that. It's this faster, this fast Thomas P. Heckman arpeggios.
Yep.
So all this techno parts. But when we approached to Monnom Black and to Dax, we already knew that we wanted to make some really like faster music and more inspired by 90s and early 2000s, rather than this EBM sound. So yeah, actually it was purely organic, and I think that Dax felt that. Yep. And that's why he said us, okay guys, I want you to make the best possible record. Yeah, and actually he was really picky, and he was really picky. But you know, the overall direction, I'm talking about the overall direction, that it was, he felt that, and we felt that we would like to make something like, you know, this Blade and this 2000 and this techno, and it was purely organic, and that was the reason. He liked some tracks from our demos, but it wasn't, you know, it wasn't this
the sound he was after.
Yeah.
It was like kind of limited, like you were saying. Like you basically discovered, you know, you got to the boundaries of EBM quite quickly, and you were maybe, you know, limiting yourselves. Okay.
Yeah, and I think we started doing, of course we felt this like, okay, now we need to do more techno thing. And our first experience actually wasn't so. Now I listened to this first demo that we sent.
Yeah, we were
fucking embarrassing.
He asked us to. He said, "I think you guys would sound really great on a dark techno track." When we said, "Man, let's do it right now," and we said and we did it, and we sent to him, and he was like, "Yeah."
Actually, he was like, "Okay, guys, good job. Like, keep them coming, coming." But
yeah. But then we realized that it was a very, again, naive attempt at doing contemporary techno songs. So we had to spend a couple of months to really understand how to make this transition happen, because it's very hard. Because actually EBM is very different from techno. There are different kicks, sub bass, bass lines.
Oh yeah.
Everything is completely different. The rhythmic structures are different. So, and you had to also keep your identity in there. And we had to make this shift really quick. So we spent a lot of time in studio trying to compress this time that would have taken a couple of years to a couple of months. And success, we have, I hope, successfully achieved that goal.
And you know what, I feel that Dax is really successful in that. So he really helped us to come to that, because we felt that we would like to come to that point, but we didn't know how. And he was really guiding us. On the one hand, he was saying, okay guys, I don't want to influence too much, just do your thing. Yeah. And he said, okay guys, your music reminds me of the Prodigy a little bit. And we're like, okay, it's our favorite band. But on the same hand, he was like really guiding us and giving really cool advices, like how to make our production like more matured, I would say.
Yeah, he was very detailed and precise in the advices he was giving. It was not just like, yeah, make it heavier, or yeah, guys, make it fatter. No, he was very tactical. He said, yeah, those bars of kicks are necessary, or try to change the percussion here, try to add another bass line here. So it's something that is very practical. You could go to the computer and actually do, not something vague. So this was really, really appreciated and helped us a lot to understand what DJs really want when they play music, because he is one of them. He's been doing it for so many years that he knows exactly how he wants a track to sound when he's playing it live. So it made us also much more conscious, even more, of how the track should sound, because beforehand we had a lot of instrumental parts, melodic parts, stops in the music to breathe, which is a fair thing. For EBM, we had this luxury of doing that. In techno, you don't have so much space to do that because you feel a pressure to deliver constant energy flow.
Mm-hmm.
So we learned to do that.
Thanks to him, basically. You know, it sounds definitely like he saw, you know, the potential in you guys, and he, you know, like by guiding you like that, not telling you exactly what you have to do, but giving you, you know, little small technical tips, you know, to adapt your music to what maybe, you know, DJs that perform live and stuff like that would be, you know, looking for. So yeah, very interesting story, man. I guess you were quite hyped at the time, right? Like, how was it when you got the email from him?
Yeah, like I had to go to work, and I did it immediately because I simply could not sleep after seeing this.
Yeah.
But you know what? You know what? If you ask me if I would like to go back those times and to repeat this experience and write these 4 tracks, I would definitely say no. Man, it was like, I understand, and actually like the output, I'm more than happy about it, and I think it would not happen if he wasn't so big, and he wasn't like he said, I would like to get the best possible record. You know, if I was making a choice or Nikki was making a choice, probably we would just like pick 4 tracks like that with the finished. But it definitely wasn't the case. Like he was really picky. We wrote this "Do You Believe in Night Energy?" Really pretty quickly. But you know this
all the Streets of Sound and Hive Mind, which happened as well quickly. But so we had
the Hive song.
Actually, sorry.
The Hive song. What's it called?
Hive
Mind. Yeah, man. But you know, there was a gap. There was a gap of several months, and we ran out of our ideas completely, and we didn't know what to do. I felt so desperate because I understood that, you know, all this you know, usual things don't work, and we're not guys that are able to make 1 track per day or something like that. So actually 1 track, yeah, we do it
couple of weeks,
yeah, really. Like, and you know, I can't shoot those tracks. I really need to think about it. I really need to come up with some idea. So it's really hard. And when your idea gets refused, so it's really tough experience, I would say. It wasn't that easy. And for several months, it was a really desperate feeling. Like I felt like we are not able to do. I even felt that we will not do that, man.
Yeah.
I felt like, okay, probably that's the point when all other artists, they are contacted by DAX, they are offered EP, but they simply can't finish it because it was really hard.
Yeah. We were, let's say, very much creatively exhausted as well. I think it's not just because of DAX, but probably we had to work because we wanted it so much. We worked definitely at a much faster pace than we would usually approach any studio session. We usually do it when we have an idea and we don't pressure ourselves to come up with one. Here, because we wanted this to happen ASAP, we really pressured ourselves, and at some point we really how would you say, overburned?
You were exhausted.
Burned out. Yeah. It's the same as it happens at work. When you work late, wake up early. Same happened here. Same can happen here. At some point, I thought that I really had thoughts of ending up with music to the point, and it's a very low point you have to go to get this thought in your head.
Oh yeah.
So this gap between October to January, which was flat in terms of the material that got accepted, it was extremely harsh, and we still had to keep things going. And the breakthrough happened at the end of January. Somehow we understood yeah, even beginning of January, I remember I sent a demo to Artem when he was in Camera, spending holidays. And then he came back, we finished this track, it was Hive Mind, and then All the Streets Are Silent happened really fast as well, because we understood the vibe, because we understood that we don't have an acid track actually on the record, and acid is 90s and 2000 sound, and we had to have one. So we wrote that track immediately. So it took us another 1 month to complete those 2 tracks. So if you take the time to complete the EP, actually it's just 2 months, and like 4 to 5 months in between that were flat empty on material. So, and this experience is what I believe separates musicians that stay at home, bedroom producer, from starting a career. And not a lot of people, I believe, would love and can actually physically and mentally go through this process.
Yeah, I need to tell two things actually. The first thing, even Nikki, everything that Nikki said is right, but you know, Dax was right. In the end of the day, he was right about like pushing us.
Yep.
But the second thing that like this version 1 fractions that after this release was confirmed, and after all, as I see it now, like, you know, looking back, he finished this music completely different producers.
Oh, okay. Yep.
The new story like started absolutely, like it was so you know, I would say big experience, huge experience, like life changing, like everything changed, like perception of music, like the approach to producing everything. Now we look at music that we produce, other producers create absolutely different thing. And that was the point when we completely changed, like everything has changed.
So it looks like what you guys were saying, like this process, this pressure, or worked, you know, in your favor at the end. Honestly, and I'm just being totally honest, if I didn't think this, I wouldn't say it. I love that EP. Every single song I really, really love. Like, so what I was getting to, like, you can notice, you know, that this pressure and this process that you've gone through, as you were saying, you know, has made you evolved as artists and your perception of music. So super happy for you guys. I think as well, you know, what Nikki said, some artists or some producers aren't able to go, you know, mentally or physically through that process, and they basically maybe, you know, stay at a certain level. But it's, you know, it's what you get if you invest, you know, mentally in a project like that. At the end, well, you're gonna, you know, have different perspective, different outcome.
You know, that's the price that you pay. But you know, I would like to tell you one thing, and that was the thing that this guy from Darkthrone said during this interview. After this EP, there was no magic in creation music anymore, like really, because like I mean, if you know what I mean by like magic, when you don't know something and you look at this and you're like, okay, you feel some magic because you see some magic because you don't know this process internally, like how it actually works. But after that, man, no magic, no romantic anymore after this process.
It was all technical.
I mean, it's totally fine, and that's the process of evolution. I believe this is the only way how to evolve. And thanks to Dax for actually he's still challenging us and still making big you know, contributions to our growth. And I really thank him for that. But yes,
yeah, to add up to what he said, this is exactly phenomenal of many knowledge, many sufferings, or whatever the saying is. So once you get to know something and you dissect it, and you know how physics work, you know how chemistry works. Scientists are not the happiest people because they know how world operates. You know, there's no magic to you know, where water comes from, how sun shines, what rotates around what. That makes, that's a part of being unhappy. This is the price you pay for the knowledge. I think this is a part of selling your soul to the devil.
Yeah,
Kind of
it's
thing.
an interesting approach, definitely.
Yeah, and here it's basically not just the benefits that we had, but and advantages. Also, there are some professional deformation that happened at that point as well, and some of the things that have long-term effect on the way you do things, on your daily routines, on the way you view music industry.
Yep.
Everything has an effect. This again, the price you pay for the package. Again, selling a soul to the devil, kind of thing.
Yep.
This metaphor really works here, I think, in order to explain what it is.
I understand what you mean, man. So moving on, I think it'd be quite interesting to have your perspective on your favorite clubs, the favorite clubs where you've, you know, DJ'd. I know you've DJ'd at Berghain. I don't want to ask you directly if Berghain's your favorite club to DJ at, because maybe, I don't know, you've DJ'd at Tbilisi, some crazy underground club which you prefer. But yeah. So on the one hand, you know, where you've DJ'd at, second, as a you know, as a raver or whatever.
Mm-hmm. I think it would be fair to say that just based purely on our feelings and emotions, the best club we've ever played to, and still to this day, is called Ankali, which is a Prague club, because we both are very introverted people in a way that we don't really like to play somewhere outside, because they're well, we love to do it because we visit different cities, different clubs, but the atmosphere you cannot recreate, the one that you can create at home with your crew, your friends, your girlfriends being behind you, and the home public is always very encouraging as well. The sound system is phenomenal. The monitors in Ankali in Prague are the best we've experienced. It gives you so much power and bass. I think it even sounds better than on the dance floor. That's one of the reasons why we enjoy it, because we actually enjoying it more than the public. Sorry for the public. Technically speaking, of course, it was Berghain.
Yeah,
I mean, it's obvious because it's the Hail Mary of venues, state-of-the-art sound system, phenomenal building with huge history.
Yeah, Berghain was amazing.
Yes, it was truly amazing.
Which floor did you play?
It's the main Berghain floor.
So the Halle or the
no. It's Berghain.
Okay, Berghain. Yeah.
And then there is Panorama.
Yep. Yeah, the main floor.
Yeah, the thing is that why we couldn't even compare them, because the comparison is a bit biased by the fact that you're very stressed, because it was our third gig only as a project, and it was already in Berghain, so we had tremendous pressure and anxiety of playing there and worrying about how our material will sound like on the system, how it will be taken. Also, it was happening at 7 a.m. or 8 a.m. and we couldn't sleep for the whole night, but we had to. So we basically had no sleep. We woke up at 6. We were in the same hotel, and Artem came to my floor. I already had a bottle of Jaeger prepared in the refrigerator. So 6 a.m. flat, we're starting ending this bottle really quickly. So because other way you're fucked with your nerves completely. So it was a phenomenal experience, but it was through this anxiety that of course, we enjoyed the second half much more than the first one, because you already overcame this first panics and anxiety attacks at first. So here you don't have it. So I think this is a part of it, that this is why it's called home, right? It's for a reason. It feels like home is a saying for a reason. It's somewhere that you don't feel any pressure. You just enjoy purely every moment. So technically speaking, and from memory standpoints, of course, it's Berghain, it's the best club. In terms of feelings, emotions, I think it's home. Yeah.
Yeah, you know, Berghain, I think it deserves this, you know, popularity and everything, because everything was just top. Like they met us, we went to the restaurant, the food was good, like people were amazing, like super friendly, very good hotel, like sound was absolutely mind-blowing, and people, the atmosphere. Yeah, but there are a lot of words said about it. I think we all know that, so I can't really say anything new. Just like for me, it was, you know, I never heard about Berghain before I played it. Actually, I never been there. I didn't know about the existence of this club.
Really? Okay.
Yeah, and I was like, yeah, as I said, I was really like new to the scene, because I as I said, I was into electronic music, but not really techno stuff. So it was really new for me. But yeah, it was super experience. But you know what I want to say regarding the clubs and parties? Up to the point, there was only once that we didn't enjoy the party. It was only once, and unfortunately, it was in Russia. But otherwise, man, I don't know. But every time we come to somewhere, I don't know, Nikki, if you share my feeling, but all parties that I play were just amazing. Like, promoters were super friendly. Everything was just, people were super, the atmosphere was super fine. Everything was cool. Like, I don't know whether I'm so lucky, but man, even if you ask me, like, regarding our experience, like, I would say that all clubs that we play were fine. It was amazing everywhere, like literally everywhere. Everywhere, it's different in different places, but I can't say that, okay, but this club wasn't like, it was so. Because, for example, when we came to the sound check, actually, you know, this guy Dominic from Vatican Shadow actually invited us to play in Berghain. Yeah,
okay.
and we had a talk, and he was talking about the club that he played in Lithuania that was shit, that people were like, you know, not really into the music, that there was feeling that don't really understand what is happening, and everything was like, you know, weird. And now I like, well, probably I'm lucky that we didn't play too many gigs, but all the gigs that we played, man, I can't say that one of them wasn't good, but all other gigs were just like,
even though it was not good in the organizational way, the vibe was, the vibe on this bad gig still great. Where it made it bad because of the other things that made it, unfortunately. But the vibe everywhere was amazing. I think it also might sound self-flattering, but I believe the sound is universal to everywhere we bring it. We try to bring a lot of energy, no matter if we're playing a live set or a DJ set. We're trying to make a selection or structure the performance in a way that any public in any venue and any sound system would enjoy, even if it's a smaller sound system, bigger sound system. I think we just try to really think inclusive globally, so everybody could enjoy. Every club, every public, every country, you know, every city, which we really make an emphasis on this.
Yeah, but of course Berlin is somewhere else. Yeah, Berlin is just like, it's
different planet.
Yeah, it's different planet. Of course, it's like super progressive in all senses, and yeah, it's just like, yeah, what can I say? It's Berlin.
I mean, I guess like techno is a subculture, right? And people who go to Berghain or people who go to clubs in Berlin, like Griesmühle or these other clubs, and not only in Berlin, like people who go to Possession in Paris, people who go, you know, to Fabric in London. I've been brought up in Spain as well, part of my life. You know, people that go to techno parties, they actually go because they like techno. You know, that's why I mean, like it being a subculture, you know, like a more underground culture, other than like rap. You're probably or more likely going to get you know, a crowd that's really into the music and has a really good vibe, because most of them are probably in there for the music, you know, other than, you know, doing crazy fetish shit like people do in Berghain or Kit Kat. Okay, yeah, interesting, man. So and you also mentioned like this bad gig that you guys had. That was what, St. Petersburg, was it?
Yeah, yeah.
Okay. But it was because of the organization, basically, right? You mentioned.
How do you know?
You said it.
I said
Really?
it. I
Yeah.
said it.
Okay,
Yeah, it was like. Yeah, exactly. No.
It was the promoters that were not living up to the
Man, it
high
Okay.
expectations.
leave it.
Okay.
Leave this one.
Okay.
Yeah,
Okay.
I wouldn't go into detail.
Okay. So moving on, which artists would you guys like to collaborate with and why? Like, which sound you see, you know, matching with your sound?
Well,
Question.
I didn't. It's hard to say, but I can say, like, I personally I would like to cooperate with producers that I think are really like great producers, and I think that someone is his production is really high level.
Who, sorry?
Someone.
Oh, someone. Yep.
Yeah, I think, yeah, it would be amazing to make something with,
Mhm.
because I think he
Yeah. There is a lot of class to his
Yeah,
production.
it's really high class.
Yeah. There is no. He's very consistent over the years with his atmosphere. He grew up in BPM, of course. So his music is still industry. Fits the industry correctly, but he is able to keep up this fine line of his own identity without doing drastic changes too much, which is really appreciated, because producers nowadays, you can see, jump on trends to hype around it much more. So it takes a lot of courage and strength, inner strength, not to fall for this desire to appeal to the public, but to be true to yourself. And that's what we really appreciate the most about the producers, and someone is one of them.
Yeah, I'm not saying that, and I think Nikki didn't mean that you have to stay the same. It's not what you're saying.
No.
I know it's not,
Yeah.
but just, but some producers, even they're trying to evolve, or like something like how somehow adapt, but they are losing in class,
Exactly.
the music, some artists just became really literally cheap, like the production became really cheap. Cheap sound, like it's kind of trendy, but it's definitely not the case with someone. He's evolving and his production is evolving, but it's still, I
understand what you mean. Like, it's one thing to evolve as an artist and to evolve your sound, and it's another thing to, adapt your sound to exactly what, is more demanded by, people.
Because some people are stuck in early 2000s, or like, I hate this fucking trance or whatever. Like, in my time, like fucking 50 years ago, everything was better. I'm not talking about that, because staying the same, like, and evolving, and it's not the same thing. Like, I mean, being like true, like being cool class music, it's not the same as stuck in your comfort zone. It's absolutely not the same. Some people miss those things out. So you can evolve, you can change,
course.
you can even like use some new trendy tricks. Yeah, why not?
Of course.
Why not? You're developing the style. Again, that's the thing that has happened with trance. I'm not against trance at all. It's cool. Like how sometimes people, sometimes producer are doing this bad, do this sorry good. For example, like this early stuff from forward forward production.
The Danish.
Yeah,
The Danish stuff.
it was amazing. Like the early thing that they made, it's reopening the genre, and it wasn't cheap. It was class.
Yeah, and the way this trend evolves, unfortunately, they try to give trance music a fresh breath, a fresh view on the genre, which they succeeded in. They made it weird and psytrance-y, made it very fast. They actually are the one, I believe, who are responsible for the faster BPMs. Before them, before Danish music scene came to was put on the map, the BPMs were much lower. So it's all thanks to them that it happened. But unfortunately, this trend got approached by different producers in a completely different way. So they try to reproduce cheap tricks of trance music of the 90s with the big stabs, ravey, cheap, very straightforward melodies. So unfortunately, this trend got sideways. But doesn't matter. I just looked at my audio files lists, and I realized that we were talking about with Artem who we would like to collaborate with. It's very hard to just come up with something top of mind. I think from my personal perspective, I would love to collaborate with the Hacker because the guy still makes an everlasting impression on so many people, starting from Gesaffelstein to Dax J. Everybody loves the guy. So everybody who's like even more mainstream or more underground, everybody appreciates the person. From the new producers, I think Blame the Mono. If you've heard, they just released on Tapion Records.
I have, that last. I don't know what it's called, but it's got a super weird artwork on it, doesn't it?
Yeah. I think it's Air Max shoes. This thing that shows you the air, and it's
real.
I believe it is.
Okay, I looked at it and I was like,
it looks like a lot of eyes of an insect.
You're talking about this, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
That
could be. Yeah, could be. I don't know. What's it called? Dubious Scars, the EP.
Yeah.
This
fantastic. We really appreciate when the producers deliver good quality release work, not just a song or a hit. But can consistently create musical art pieces, and we consider a musical release as one. So it's not just a one hit track and just three others to complement it. If you're able to deliver a consistent experience with quality work, this is where you shine. This is where you show real class as a producers. So on to us, Blame the Mono delivered that work. Every single track is different. It sounds very precise in engineering. It has cool references that we like to the 90s, 2000s, even in the names. I think it's besides Night Energy, it's the best release of the year.
Honestly, I was gonna say the same as like Night Energy. You can, I told you before. Like to me, it's banger after banger.
It's just a joke. It's just a joke, but not really. It's not. No, really. We feel we don't evaluate our music. It's bad taste. But from my experience, it's the best EP of the year. Also, we really into electro with ghetto rap feeling to it. So there is a guy called Mutant Joe from Australia as well. This guy is a phenomenal producer. He can deliver melodical parts, driving parts, and combine it with the rap in a way that any DJ, any techno DJ can play. And it doesn't sound cheap in your face, but it sounds like it was meant to be there. The rap vocals, and it's very, very hard to make. Not it sounding cheesy. So we would love to collaborate with Mutant Joe or Freddie Dredd is the rapper that.
Oh yeah, Freddie Dredd.
Yeah, you've heard of him. So it's the rapper that he's featured on his tracks. This is the artist we would love to collaborate as well.
What's that famous song by Freddie Dredd? He's always got like girls in his song, in his like cover art. Oh, what is it? No, but his rap's fire.
I've never heard a single Freddie Dredd like solo work, unfortunately. But I actually would want to.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I was talking about Evil Fantasy is the one I had in mind, but Weather, Cha-Cha, I don't know. Yeah, he's got super. I also listen to mad rap, so I came across Freddie Dredd, and he definitely has a different sound, you know, to the mainstream.
Ну, ничего. Я в шоке. Он очень звучит. Okay.
Okay. So, how would you guys describe? So, what is high energy, like NRG? What is it? Is it your sound? Is it your label? What is it?
Very good question.
Very good question.
Yeah, I appreciate you giving it the attention. I think it's our slogan, tagline. If we were a brand, we actually try to approach the project as a brand. We try to build a certain image,
profile.
With names of the tracks, even with the visual aesthetics. And every cool brand that we know has some sort of tagline. So this is the tagline that we came up with that hopefully represents what we want to showcase visually and with audio, the sound that we want. Basically, it is what it is. I hope it does the work that it says. We want to deliver energy with to the dance floors, to the people listening to our music. And if we had to put it to those words, those are the words that came up to us. And also this, it's hi-fi thingy. It was big again back in 2000s.
Yep.
So this high thing meant high quality. It's the same as ultra or 3000, whatever. Super millennium. Those were big hype words back in the day.
Reference to
this is the reference to that era.
To this aesthetics that and regarding the label, who knows, man?
Anything can happen.
You might turn it into a label. So you guys are thinking of turning it into a label, or have you had any thoughts about that?
Probably,
Okay.
Let's see.
Or is it undisclosed information?
It's not like undisclosed information, but
it just works.
Okay.
We have ideas.
Yeah, we have several ideas.
Okay, so that brings me to the question: where does your guys' name come from? Fractions.
I don't remember. Actually, I don't remember. I remember we were Googling something related to computers. Computer science, some technical terms. There's this website called Thesaurus, where you can look for synonyms, words, and then you can spend hours in this rabbit hole. You can just click on one word or 100 synonyms to this. You press on another one, you have 100 synonyms to this, somehow it all started with data, fragments, chips, small parts contained in the computer. And one of the synonyms was fraction, and there's just two of us, so it's a plural, so it's fractions. That's it.
So I guess it's not what you expected.
Yeah, I think nobody. I think there is not a. I think a good name comes from a shit story.
Yeah,
it always does. The Prodigy took the name from a Korg synthesizer. There's Korg Prodigy.
Okay.
So that's how this story is even more stupid than ours. At least we did some research. This guy just took the password on synthesizer. That's it. The Killers took their name from a music video by New Order. New Order, if you know a band, which was, Joy Division?
No.
Post-punk.
You know Blade, right?
Blade, of course. Okay. Like the Blade techno song.
Yeah, it's New Order.
Yeah, okay.
Which is
weird. But it's not like original New Order, because New Order is post-punk. It's post-punk.
But they didn't add it on something.
I don't know how it actually.
But it became famous as New Order song for some reason.
But,
those are the guys. So they had a music video, and they had a fake band in the video called The Killers. It was written on the drum. And the guy saw this video and said, "Yeah, I'm taking this name from this music video." So I believe.
Cool story.
Yeah. Good name comes from a shit story.
Yeah, definitely. I actually interviewed this Belgian producer called Wonton, like a month ago or 2 months ago or whatever. And I was thinking, yeah, well, this comes from Wonton noodles for sure, but I'm going to ask him anyways. And apparently he was in a festival or something like that with a friend of his, and they were high as fuck, and they just started talking about weird shit through the music and like making like weird sounds, and he just came up with that name, you know what I'm saying? So it's also a shit story, but it ends up being your name.
Yeah.
No, but I like the name for sure. It's a good name, guys.
All the good things has to contain a fraction of shit, man. This essential of shit is absolutely essential.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Nothing sounds good when it's polished. When you try to make something polished, it should be a little greedy. Yeah, a little bit dirty.
Well, if you polish it too much, you're missing like it being spontaneous. That element.
Especially in producing, I really appreciate when producer have their own element of shit. So there's
something weird,
some shitty approach. For example, I don't know, they're listening to music for one part of phones, like that, because phones are broken.
Or write all their music on the AirPods, and no without studio equipment.
Yep.
Or using only one shitty VST and doing everything there, but even if it's inconvenient, something like that, I can feel like the real story behind that.
Yeah, definitely. Like that basically probably, boundaries a little bit in the same way, like you're trying to do the most out of your limited resources, basically, yeah?
Yeah, okay. That's where the most creativity comes from as well.
I'm sorry?
You're very limited. The most creativity comes when you're very limited.
Exactly.
To something. You try to squeeze the most out of it. And the more you have, the more at your hands, the more you lose in it. That's why we see a lot of decline, in great artists, which came up with strong albums and then decline over years. And everybody wonders why the magic is lost. I think it's due to the fact that they are not restricted anymore, and they're, they have so much possibilities to do anything. They earned a lot of money, so there is no this creativity hunger anymore. So it's very important to keep yourself limited and boxed in some ways to keep this creativity going.
Yeah, it's rather philosophical domain.
Yeah. I mean, you see that definitely, but then you see other kind of shit like, Tyler the Creator, for instance, with his last album, Igor.
I know Tyler the
I
Creator,
know
but I'm
Tyler
not
Creator, but
Okay.
yeah, I'm not.
Doesn't matter. I was going to say that dude's crazy anyways, you know, so even though he's successful, he's got like crazy ADHD and all that kind of stuff. Like, I think he's just naturally a super creative person. And even though he's gotten to a certain level, he's still, you know, pushing it. But, you know, that's, to me, that's an exception, obviously. Like, he's just a super extremely good artist. But I understand perfectly what you're saying. Like, exactly, you push your boundaries even more when your resources are limited, basically. Yeah. So, so I wanted to ask you about Onyx Club and the overall, you know, underground and mainstream techno scene in Prague and Russia. If you guys have a perspective on that as well, you know, maybe if you could compare, you know, from the '90s to now, something like that.
You know what? Like Onyx, first of all, Onyx, it's a party.
Okay.
Event promoter.
Yeah, it's event promoter. Unfortunately, it's not a club yet, but who knows? Probably in the future. You know what? I will tell you one thing. I don't know. I think that Nikki in the same situation. I know when people ask something like that, especially from Europe, where techno has some history. So it's pretty normal for you that you in UK, for example, or I don't know, like in Germany, there is already some history. But my history of techno, there was no techno scene. there was no even music, more or less. So it's uncomparable. I can't really compare. I can't really say that in my, especially in my city, there was some scene. No, there wasn't. There was no scene. In Moscow and St. Petersburg, yeah, there was something. There was something, but I was too young, so I don't actually remember. Yeah, regarding Prague, fortunately things started changing from 2015 when those guys from what's the name of the party? Polygon and some other parties, they started doing those warehouse raves with this hypnotic music. Yeah. Now it's still in Prague, it's still in developing phase.
Yeah, and it's a bit stuck in back because there are not that many new players playing that game, trying to create gigs or open new clubs or to bring the fresh sound. Onyx being the most forward thinking, that's why we are a part of this community of this movement. We are like residents of this event because they are the most forward thinking. They bring the most interesting musicians to Prague, and because the older promoters, they opened a club, they all accumulated into one. So there were like
Ankali club, actually.
Yeah. So there were 3-4 separate event promoters, and then they united, opened the club, and they're still promoting that sound that was popular 5-6 even years ago, still bringing the same artists. And this being, they actually hold a little bit of a monopoly, not in a bad way, but just the way it is. I will just finish that. They still very much bring, of course it's up to them who they bring, but those are the artists that I saw back in the day, and I don't see that many new names coming here, which stops a little bit, seems, from the involvement.
Yeah, just wanted to mention that they just do what they like, which I totally understand. Yeah, but they have their own like sound
and
vision, which is totally fine. But in terms of, let's say high BPM techno or whatever, I think the only one party is the Onyx party now. And I see people still don't understand the music. Still, they don't know what to do with this sort of music. So it's still really new. I know it's weird to hear, but it's like that. In Prague, it's still in the early phase right now.
So there's never been like a very strong techno culture in Prague.
No.
Yeah.
Drum and bass, probably some really hardcore, and this. Yeah. Of course, there were big raves. Like there was a culture. I'm not saying that there was no
And
culture,
still is.
and there still is. But it's not the same culture as, for example, Possession in Paris or Berghain in Berlin. It's not the same. It's absolutely different. And I'm dividing. Yes, there's like this real old school with this drum and bass thing. This is definitely, yes. In Czech Republic, drum and bass is a big thing. Yeah, this hardcore and GABA, yes, definitely yes. But this modern techno sound, I'm talking about this modern techno sound. This is in the early stage.
Yeah, it's in the early stage. Also, not just because of the Ankali Club,
Yeah.
because there are not that many DJs, almost none, that are trying to push the boundaries forward. Except, of course, for the Onyx DJs. But except for that, there's just a couple of people. You don't see a massive, or like even 10 people that are playing up to the trend of modern sound, or interesting sound even, or neither producers. So this also brings us to this topic of community of producers and DJs that is not completely evolved here. This is not even an early stage. It's like it doesn't exist here anymore yet, not anymore. The public, yes, you have 500, 300 to 1,000 maybe visitors per event.
At
People
Onyx.
who are aware. No, not just Onyx, but different techno parties, I would say. It has its audience. You have guys who, play in a genre that's of techno that is not really interesting anymore. Yes, this you have. What you lack is those people who really are pushing the boundaries forward. The producers, the DJs. In Prague, it doesn't exist, unfortunately. So we have to look somewhere else to get inspiration and to look at, this is what's happening in Paris. That's what's happening in UK. That's what's happening in Australia. That's interesting. I wish Prague was one of those hubs that dictated some rules, created new trends, but this is just one of those places which is a trend follower, and a very late trend follower rather than trendsetter. But this is just the way it is. It's Eastern Europe. I believe you don't have that much trend setting in those countries.
Yeah, we are talking specifically about like this techno scene, like this modern techno, let's say. Yeah. I'm not saying that there are no musicians in Czech Republic.
Obviously,
there are, of course, there in other genres. There are many musicians. We're talking about this
niche,
this niche music, about this modern,
like Possession, Berghain kind of wave. Yeah, I understand what you mean. Wait just a second. Totally understand. It was just a bit weird that you said that like people go to a rave and they don't really know how to do what to do, because as I said, I've been brought up in Spain, and in Spain people, it doesn't really have that big of a techno culture as maybe Berlin. And the techno culture in Berlin is basically historical, because of the Soviet Union war falling and all of that. But people know how to go to a rave and know what to do in a rave. I understand what you mean. Like, people probably aren't that conscious about the music that they're going to listen to. They just go and that's it. They're just going to rave, and they get the music that they get. They're not really expecting anything. I understand what you mean.
It's just, I think it's just early stage. It's just too early for Prague. It's just like, the world is not evolving, is not developing like linearly the same pace everywhere. So sometimes it's more evolved, sometimes it's less. So it's just a matter of time, of course. But for now, it's like it's a little bit early for Prague.
This
leads me to one of my other questions that I usually ask, and that's like, what are your guys' opinion on big, in your case, Czech artists? Do they put enough for the underground? Do they help underground artists? And do they give underground artists exposure? Because, for instance, this Belgian dude that I interviewed, I asked him about Amelie Lenz and Charlotte de Witt and whatnot, and he said basically, well, they could do more. Having the reach that they have. Well, that was his opinion. Then I've also interviewed some Spanish artists, and I asked him about Hector Oaks or about Oscar Mulero and artists like that. And well, they gave me their opinion on them. So what about you guys? Do you guys really have that reference at all? Do you have a big, techno artist that could potentially put you on?
I just have a question. Like, I just try and understand what do you mean by that? What those artists supposed to do? Like, in general, how they're supposed to support?
Well, for instance, the Spanish guys, Face Bipolar, they said that Oscar Molero, when he's got a gig, he's got his label as well called Natural Selection or something like that. And the artist that he's got in his label, like if he's booked for a gig, one of the conditions is for his artists in the label or other artists that he basically fucks with in the underground scene, play before him. I don't know, as an example, having Amelie Lenz, for instance, having a big platform, having a label and stuff like that. I mean, obviously she's only going to promote what she likes, but it's one thing to play one song of an underground artist in a set, and it's another thing to maybe provide a different platform, like invite underground artists to play at a live stream, or stuff like that. There are different things that you could do. I'm not saying that this Belgian artist was right. I'm just saying that was his opinion.
From my perspective, what DJs and producers can really do, they can like give some advices to young producers, or something like that. But otherwise, how can you help? I just don't understand how we technically can help. Don't really know. In Czech Republic, I don't know. Like, as I said, there are not too many big artists, so.
I mean, for instance, look, another example, and I don't know if you consider this as this concept of putting someone on, but like Blame the Mono, they're not big artists. Like, I mean, their quality is really good, and technically they're really good, but they're not extremely well known like Shlomo. And what has Shlomo done to promote their music? Well, enable them to release a project through Tapion. Something like that. That's.
But it's not the same. It's not the same. Like, Shlomo is interested in them because he needs some new artists for his label. Yeah, and as I said, he's helping them. Like, he's giving him some advices. He's helping them to make the productions better. But in the end of the day, like, it's not like one field game. Yeah, there is a talented producers, and this talented producers is interested in some more represented label and etc. On the same hand, like, there is a label owner which is interested in new producers, and this is pretty much works everywhere the same way. So in this case, of course, like, I think that label owners, this is their duty to find talented young producers and to grow them. This definitely, yes. But I don't see any different ways how to help. You can't help everyone.
Of course,
it's simply impossible. If you invite some random no-name DJ, let's say, on your gig, I don't think it really helps the DJ. But taking care of someone, yeah, it's another thing. It's different story, and this is how the world works in general.
And I think it's a bit unfair to say actually about Emily Lenz, because she fosters and promotes her artists heavily, the ones that are on her label Lenskay. So once you're there, you'll be taken care of, you'll be promoted, you'll play their own label Exhale events. She will promote your music personally. I think this is a great responsibility that she took, and I think she's doing good work. She plays tracks from, not that very well known producers. She gives them exposure. She gave us exposure. We were added to her playlist on Spotify. Those small things, I think this is a contribution.
Exactly. That's the stuff that I'm talking about.
I think he's doing a great job, but in the end of the day, you can't. This idea of helping to some community. What is that community? You can't help to the community. You can't help to concrete people, and this is normal. You can't save the world, but you can help concrete producers, concrete artists, and really help them, really grow them up. And really promote them, this is absolutely yes. But helping every
obviously
producer.
no, I wasn't talking about every single person, obviously, exactly like you say, it's impossible to have help everyone out, but it's just when you're in a position where you can help people that you actually want to help, but that you consider are technically at a level, maybe like Shlomo thought, or Blame the Mono. I don't know, that. We don't see that always happening. Sometimes.
But I need to admit that I can see, for example, Dax J is doing a lot for his for producers from his label. Kobosil is doing the same, and before that, Marcel Detman was doing that for Kobosil. So I don't have this feeling that today's DJs, that they are like that. They don't think about other people. No, I have quite an opinion that actually I see many DJs are doing great, and this is absolutely fine that these DJs grow you up, but you become a part of their crew, and it's it's on both sides, and it's totally fine. And this sense, absolutely yes. And I think if you're a label owner, of course, if you're big, you have to help other DJs in this sense, that you grow them up, giving them advice, helping them to evolve. This is absolutely yes. But these are pretty much concrete things.
Yeah, no, I never said that Amelie Lenz didn't help. It was this guy's opinion. And as I said,
just answer it. Just answer
it. What this dude had in mind was, as I said, organizing a live stream for more underground people, stuff like that. I don't even know if she does it, but obviously, you're only going to promote, if you're in a position like that, you're not going to promote everyone. You can only promote who you really like. And also, it's a big problem that your name is kind of tied to that artist, because if you're promoting someone and you don't really fuck with their music, everyone's going to see that, linked to your name. Yeah. Okay, so you don't really have that, in the Czech Republic.
And I don't really think it helps actually when okay, I'm going to organize a stream for some no-name DJs or whatever, but you can dedicate this time better to something you care about, to producers from your label. I think it's not a really good idea to spread a new energy and trying to make some things. I don't think really helps, but you can change the life of several people, probably not hundreds of them, but 10 of them. You can really change. You can really help them and change their life and make those lives better. And I think this is primary duty. You're responsible for some people, and you have to dedicate the time you have to dedicate them, not spreading your time and trying to do everything. No, that's my opinion.
Yeah, no, understood, man. 100% agree.
Czech Republic, yes, they're. I don't know, man. As I said, the stage here is early, and we as fractions were trying to build some community and to deliver some music to people. And but you know, there are not too many producers up to the point. So it's early stage.
You're basically building up the.
In 4 years, how it's gonna be. Hope it's gonna be more like.
It's quite interesting, man, that you guys are from the Czech Republic, you know, where there's basically no scene, you know, and well, originally even from Russia, where there's even a smaller scene, and you were able, you know, to get to a point where Dax J, you know, fucked with your music and got you on Monnom Black. It's interesting, isn't it? Because like 7 years ago, you guys didn't even fuck with techno.
Yeah, man. Like, but I think. I don't know.
We never. I think we never even thought in terms of Czech Republic or Russia. We always try to build a globally accepted product. So I think.
But I mean, like your friends, you know, are influenced by the context, and the context is where you are. Obviously, you've got the internet, and you're able to access, you know, all kinds of music, but your friends listen to a certain kind of music that's trendy, it's most probably they're influenced by their context. I don't know.
Yes, that's true. But look, I don't want to feel to leave the impression that we were totally out of field. No, we were listening. We were listening to many genres. Like we were making music since like I don't know 15 years old or something. So I just want to say that. Probably when we moved, we became like more open mind, and for us, like getting into the new genre, especially the genre that we really liked, wasn't something you know difficult, because we already were like kind of open minded and like had experience in different genre. Probably this you know this way of thinking helped us to build something, let's say, unique or whatever. Something like probably not so unique, but we're doing
something of your own.
Yeah, something of your own.
And I think the most important that we knew how the music works. We know the fundamental principles and laws of melodic structures, structuring a song, or the hook lines. You know, we try to approach a techno with even pop music in mind. You know, we're trying, where there is a chorus and a pop song, we're trying to approach our bass line with as if it was a hook in a chorus line, you know, or a lead sound,
or in metal song.
Yeah. There should be something, you know, in every music genre. There is something that should hook a listener. So we're trying to approach it no different. I think that this is the reason why we also are not connected to either a location or a specific genre. So we can move around, change genres easily, because I think we have those fundamentals, music fundamentals in it.
You know what? I want to add something. Yeah, I actually grateful that I didn't have this like 15 friends and black t-shirts, like, you know, that listen to the same techno music and, you know, boiling in the same pot. Yeah. It was completely opposite. And this is a way, and this actually something that allowed us to do music without any boundaries, you know. There was no community with all those cliches or always all of those, you know, ways of doing music, listening to music, some, you know, some opinion that pushing in you. And I'm grateful that it happened this way, that we didn't have it at all. So
no, makes total sense. Like
we just made what we really wanted to make, you know?
Exactly. That's what I was going to say. Like, you weren't forced into the music at all. Like, you originally, you know, organically liked that music. So that's what, it wasn't because of your surroundings. You know, interesting, man. And obviously, what Nikita was saying before, like that having that musical background. Is it Nikita originally?
Yeah, correct. Very good.
exactly, like having that musical background obviously is of convenience, you know, for developing any other kind of sound. So I, you know, come to the last question to wrap this up, unless you guys would like to talk about anything else, which is a stupid question, but I like asking it. Like, could you guys tell me a crazy party story you've had as a DJ or as a club attendant, rave attendant, or something like that, that you're comfortable with, obviously?
Yeah, I actually can tell. Now I remember. It's a funny story. So we finished a gig in Berlin last year in December. And you know, there was a guy that approached me. He was like, the terrific music, terrific everything, and I danced a little bit, you know, like this, and I tried to do some
Oh fuck, I know this stuff.
some cheesy techno moves. He said, "Good moves, man." I said, "Man, really appreciate it." And he was like, "Man, listen, I have an offer for you. How about I lick your balls?" I was like, "Man, it's totally cool. Really appreciate it. Really flattering. Just not into it, and I don't think my girlfriend would really appreciate it." Okay, but maybe I can, you know, like kiss a tip, you know, of the dick, or you know, just something. I don't know. Maybe sniff a little bit. I was like, "Man, it's basically the same thing. It's the subject is the same, and the answer is the same." No, but thank you again. Really, really cool. It was like, and he was like trying different offers on me. He was like, "Yeah, maybe, maybe, you know, I just hold it in one hand, you know, the ball sack, and I just, you know, just do those moves with my fingers." I said, "No, still no." And then he tried 5 times maybe, and then he's like, "Yeah, whatever, I'm done. I did everything I could."
Yeah, but he said one thing like, you don't want to try new things.
Yeah. He was like, "Yeah, man, but you're just looking under a very narrow perspective on it. Try to open up your mind a little bit and try to you know, get some new experience. You know, how do you and he said, how do you know you wouldn't like it unless you tried it?"
I appreciated the approach, like, and the questions, like, they were really like right questions. I would say.
Yeah, very good sales pitch.
Yeah,
actually.
way of thinking, like, way of thinking, like, yeah, really appreciated that.
Yeah, I don't know. It's kind of like, well, why don't you eat some shit? You know, you've never tried it. You don't know if you like it. Yeah, well, I've never tried it, but I'm not going to eat a shit just because I know I'm not going to like it. You know what I'm saying?
And on some people, I think some people would be convinced by, you know, this sentence. That's the point. You try it on 10 people, one of them will go and eat a piece of shit.
Yeah, probably.
To try for themselves.
There's this other dude that was in Berghain, right?
No, it was a different venue in Berlin.
Okay.
I remember the name.
There's this dude in
Urban Spree.
Oh, Urban Spree. Okay. There's this dude in Berghain that I've never seen, but my friends have told me about him, and I've heard about him. And he apparently, you know, stays in the bathrooms all night. And when you go in and you want to take a piss, like, he's got this fetish where he likes the people piss in his mouth, and he just like basically begs you to piss in his mouth. He's like, please.
Yeah. It's. I just wanted to say that it's another story that we have. When we played in Berghain, our friends encountered this. So it was happening. So a guy was standing there and he offered it, and he said, "Yeah, can happen." But they did it.
You know, it feels normal in Berghain.
Yeah. After an hour, like, yeah, it's like handshaking, saying goodbye. It feels like the same thing. It's a ritual.
Yeah, I feel a little bit weird because, you know.
Yeah, we're Russians. We're Russians. We're not used to this kind of.
We're not used to, because, you know. But at the end of the day, it's cool. Like,
yeah.
It's totally,
nobody's harmed. Everybody.
It's
has
totally
fun.
fine. Like, and actually, I can appreciate the way how this guy was like convincing me to do. Like, actually, I felt like sounds good.
Yeah. Like, I mean, if you're in the vibe, you know, it's normal. Exactly. I wasn't brought up either in a scene like that, but I've got obviously nothing against it. Like, you do whatever the fuck you want to do, you know. And if you get to convince people, bruh, well, you got it, you know.
Pretty cool, yeah.
So, and do you have any crazy stories, Artem?
Me?
Yeah.
I don't think so. I have something. Only when I like eating. Yeah, I was eating shawarma and like. You remember this kebab?
Yeah.
And this kebab was totally everything on my bed after the gig. That's basically, I think, the funniest story. I literally was sleeping in kebab, you know.
Yeah, he was the kebab.
Yeah, I'm pretty boring person actually.
He's not. It's just every party is pretty wild, but it's not something so wild you want to tell about.
Yeah.
It's just it's hard to tell because we had so many great after parties and so many good encounters. When you drink a lot, you have a lot of laughs, but it's not something that vivid.
Yeah.
You want to.
It's not like a story, basically. You just had
exactly. So yeah, the story is a very rare thing to happen there.
Yeah, but this, you know, waking up in kebab, it's pretty rare thing to do. really strange.
Yeah, and the breakfast is already there.
Yeah, well, breakfast.
You've got dinner and breakfast at the same time.
Exactly.
Okay, guys. Well, unless you guys want to talk about something else, that'd be pretty much it on my side. I hope I haven't forgotten anything. That's why I always like to ask if you guys would like to add something.
No, actually, I'm starting to mix words already.
Yeah.
Forgetting it. So I think it's a good time to
Perfect,
press
guys.
a pause button.
Perfect.